No, porque ya llegué a mi casa.
A ver, ¿dónde estamos?
¿Eh?
¿Dónde estamos aquí?
Ah, Casa del Mezcal.
Casa de mezcal y se bebe. ¿Qué se bebe? ¿Y qué se bebe?
Mezcal. Chingo de mezcal. El que ha venido a Oaxaca y no toma mezcal, no conoce Oaxaca.
¿Eres fotógrafo profesional? Que traes una lente muy cabrona, ¿no?
Oaxaca is a touristic town visited for its rich culture and its promotion of mezcal as a noble spirit. Bars like La Mezcaleria help a growing public understand the spirit of maguey. Unlike tequila, and because of the wide variety of species allowed, mezcal shows itself with many colors. You still find some rough ones with a worm in the bottle and without much smoky character. These are for tourists. But the true mezcals have a lot of personality and can be complex, fragrant, delicate. There are almost 500 palenques in the Oaxaca area. But Santiago Matatlan, world capital of mezcal, is certainly a great starting point. Tobalá, Espadín, Tepestate, Arroqueño, Duranguenses, Carwinski, Inadequans, and many more species grow, some in fields, others in the wild. Most mezcals will be a blend of several of them, but an increasing number of producers capitalize on singularities of a few like Tobala and Espadín. A standard mezcal making process begins with the hot stone spit cooking of the maguey, where the wood would be having an impact on the aromatic profile of the future spirit. It is then crushed by a mule-powered stone wheel. Water is added after fermentation is underway, traditionally relying on wild yeast alone, in wooden vats made of oak, pine, or even eucalyptus.
¿Quieren probarlo? Se vería muy rico.
Once fermentation is over, the whole of it, including solid parts, is placed in the wood-fired copper pot still, and distillation proceeds. Of the maguey can take several days, usually between 3 to 5, and it is followed by a long fermentation of up to 10 days. Some producers will distill once, others twice, but in the end, from the harvest of the piña, it can take 2 weeks until the spirit is collected. The old-fashioned way was to keep it in clay amphoras, which would allow minute amounts of the most volatile compounds to leave the spirit, providing mellowness over time. Nowadays, it is most common to store the mezcal in carboys. If you're into mezcal, you must know the Del Maguey releases. Ron Cooper is our guide extraordinaire in our search for the exquisite and unique maguey spirits. We're driving to San Luis del Rio to discover the origins of mezcal, and Paciano, who happened to replace an old still that day, entertains us with his visions of the maguey culture. He tells us how it is convenient to grow corn along with maguey on these slopes, as you must tend the fields regardless for the first 3 years of the maguey's lifespan. It sure gives you the best tamales possible. Paciano says that the best maguey is grown on the top of the hills, where maximum exposure is providing great sugar concentrations. The plant itself reproduces before dying, shooting a gorgeous and very tall flower up the sky, El Quiote, which can bear up to 3,000 baby plants. But Paciano prefers the more reliable root system cultivation, when an offshoot from the roots is later separated from the mother plant and planted in the field on its own. He says it gives more strength and disease resistance to the maguey. But here we are, at 8,000 feet high in the mountains, about to see a copper pot still being replaced.
Tanto humo que sale,
Ajá.
corre toda la plaga.
Estamos cambiando la olla. Poner uno de 300 litros y sacar el de 200.
¿Y por qué ese no funciona más?
No. Es que la cosa va más lo grande. Entonces queremos otra olla más grande.
Ah.
Así es.
¿Qué es?
La vida.
Aquí está la vida de todos.
Sí, esta es la vida de todos.
Así es.
Bueno.
Por uno hasta que se termina de limpiar, se saca todo, se limpia, se barre y otra vez volvemos a lo mismo. Aquí ya va encima de esto va el agave, luego se le pone esa fibra.
Ajá.
Encima de esa fibra lleva un nylon para que la tierra no le caiga al maguey.
Ajá.
Y tierra encima de él.
Sí, por eso tiene aquí. Sí.
Sí, por eso esa tierra va encima.
Entonces cuando se cose necesita gente que le ayude a
Sí,
poner.
3, 4 gentes.
Y rápido se tiene que poner.
Rapidísimo, en 2 horas a más tardar.
Sí. Ellos son muy humildes, no tienen cabreo.
2 gentes, uno aquí, otro allá. ¿Ves? En la primera truena.
¿Ah, sí?
Sí, no, delicado. Mucho. Esto se desmonta.
And we are headed to Minas, closer to Oaxaca, to witness yet another ancient way of distilling. In Minas, Luis and his brother show us how their distillation goes on. Mainly, a continuous flow of cold water condenses the vapors arising, and the spirit is simply collected. Luis also makes pechuga, a flavorful mezcal obtained by infusing fruits and spices in the chiche during the second distillation, and the contact of alcoholic vapors with one or several turkey breasts within the alembic. Mexico is a great culinary adventure altogether. Just leave the gusano in the cheap mezcal and have some del maguey instead. Maybe with a side of chapulín, or crickets with guacamole, and some tacos de cabezas